Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. When I first started making videos, one of the videos that was most successful was one about eponyms. And so I thought, well, after all this time, why not make another video with eponyms, more eponyms. And today I'd like to draw your attention to words such as boycott and derby and Down syndrome and bowdlerise. Let's see. All right, so let's have a look at a few of those eponyms. The first one I want to bring to your attention is boycott. We all know boycott as either a noun or a verb, meaning the act of putting people, a group of people, or an organization under pressure by shunning them, by isolating them. We have to go back to the 19th century in Ireland. And back then, Ireland was part of Britain, part of the United Kingdom. The whole of the island was part of the UK. In Ireland, there was a land agent called Charles Boycott, who looked after the land of an absentee English landlord. And when in 1880 there was a very poor harvest, the landlord, through his land agent Charles Boycott, offered his tenants a 10% reduction in rents. But those tenants, they thought that was much too little, and they demanded 25% of reduction in rents. And when Boycott did not agree with that, they organized a protest in the form of a shunning of the land agents. Kind of, they tried to isolate that person. How did they do that? Well, they got all the workers, all the house staff also of Charles Boycott to stop work. Also, local shops, local businesses did not want to deal with him anymore. And even the postman refused to deliver any mail. And eventually, he had to give in. The first result of a boycott. And almost immediately, the term boycott began to be used in the newspapers. Both as a noun and a verb, with the meaning of to isolate someone, to shun someone. So boycott was originally a person, a land agent. Let's also have a look at the word derby, very often local derby, in the meaning of usually in connection with sports, a contest, a match between two teams from the same town or sometimes from the same region. Very often this term, derby, is linked with the 12th century origins of football. And we refer then to a town, Ashbourne in Derbyshire, where it was a yearly event to have two teams from the opposite sides of the river that flows through Ashbourne, who would play a rough game to get a ball into the goal of the opponents. It's generally seen as the origin of football. However, well, why would they then call the match a derby rather than an Ashbourne or something? So much more likely we have to look for the origin of the term with the 12th Earl of Derby. He organized a horse race in 1780, and eventually in the 1840s, Derby began to be used as a term to refer to any kind of sporting contest. So not just that particular horse race or a horse race, but any kind of contest. And then that evolved into calling a contest between two teams from the same town a local derby. Then later on, sometimes instead of a local derby, you will now also just hear a derby in the meaning of a match between two teams from the same town. The third eponym that we're looking at today is Down syndrome. Well known to everyone, I think, as a genetic disorder linked with mild to sometimes medium intellectual limitations. Well, there was a British doctor called John Langdon Down, who lived in the 19th century. He lived in Cornwall. And he worked in an institution for people with mental problems. He described a group of people with shared characteristics, and he named them mongoloids. Now, it took quite a while for the actual origin of the syndrome to be discovered. That happened in 1959, when researchers were able to link the syndrome with chromosomes and a defect in chromosomes. And they then also renamed the condition Down syndrome, referring back to that Cornish Dr. John Langdon Down. The last word we're looking at, the last eponym, is bowdlerise. And that is something you might not know. It's used to mean to delete words, delete fragments from a text, because those words or fragments are considered vulgar. So a kind of censorship. In order to link that up with the name of a person, we go back to the 18th and 19th centuries, when in England there was a doctor called Thomas Bowdler. And he famously published a censored edition of Shakespeare's works called The Family Shakespeare. He published that in 1818. And the censorship wasn't actually his own, but his sister's. It was his sister who deleted the words, deleted the fragments from Shakespeare. On the title page of this Family Shakespeare, we can actually read the following, and I quote, "Nothing is added to the original text, but those words and expressions omitted which cannot with propriety be read aloud in a family." So they're explaining why they've left out those words, why the text has been censored. And to this day, you can say that a text has been bowdlerized. So that was that for the moment. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe and comment, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.